Ben, I'm glad we're friends.
Oh, Marshall. Really? Do you really mean that?
No. This week on Cinema Lounge Presents, we're talking about John Wick 4, the fourth in the John Wick franchise. It comes after John Wick 3, which came after John Wick 2, which came after John Wick 1, which was the first one.
Just called John Wick.
It's just called John Wick. I mean, are we going to go through the action? This is just the introduction scene. We're going to talk about the movie, what we liked about it, what we didn't like about it, and that's all. Enjoy the show. See you
as my friends Rhett and Link always say, let's talk
about that.
Yeah.
Careful with my XLR cable, fan. Hey, now we're in the real show again.
Wow, Marshall. I'm always a little worried that when you do things like that, like when we pause for 3 seconds and there's supposed to be something in between, that it won't ever end up in the final cut, and then we'll just seem like silly boys.
No, it'll be there.
All right,
because with the CLPs, I do the little intro thing.
Trusting you.
I'm trusting
We should get an AI bot to recognize when we take a gap for 3 seconds, and it will place a marker in Adobe, and will tell you when there's a...
It already kind of does that.
I'm a genius.
You're so smart.
What can I say but that I am a technology god?
You're one of the gods of technology.
Yeah.
And you know what I want to talk about, Ben?
John Wick 4?
The god of killing.
We saw this movie together.
We did. It was fun.
Jonathan Wick, as we call him.
As Ian McShane says.
Yes.
Jonathan.
Yep. So... he strikes again. Chapter 4. Not John Wick 4.
Strikes again.
He is... it's Chapter 4, because this is a book.
It is Chapter 4. They haven't done that for any of the previous ones, have they?
Is that true?
Has it been John Wick Chapter 2?
I don't know, actually. I don't know.
Hold on. I want to find out.
Quickly?
Because they all have subtitles except for this one.
Yeah, what?
Hold on.
The final
No,
Wick.
they are chapters. So there's John Wick... There's John Wick... This is the first one. It's just John Wick,
okay.
2014.
Yeah.
And then John Wick Chapter 2 was, I don't know how many years after that. Hold on. 2017.
Okay.
3 years between films.
Okay. They were spending all 3 years doing stunt choreography.
John Wick Chapter 3, Parabellum.
They were chapters.
Yeah, but this one is called this one has an extra subtitle. This one's called Parabellum. Which I don't know what the heck that means. Look up Parabellum.
Parabolum.
Yeah,
it's a parabola and antebellum combined.
A type of semi-automatic pistol or machine gun.
Ooh.
Early 20th century, the name of a German make of gun from Latin parabellum. Why that has any bearing on this movie, I don't remember.
Perhaps
because
that's the gun
3 was just very okay.
John Wick star Keanu Reeves explains the meaning of parabellum. Should I read the article while you keep talking?
Yeah.
Great. Keanu Reeves, the titular hitman. That's a silly phrase.
Not that funny.
That is silly.
It was not that
titular.
funny at all.
A titular hitman.
I heard it.
I
heard it.
Stupid. Who's writing this E-Weekly?
I don't know who's reading
Weekly.
it.
Oh gosh. It takes way too long to get to him explaining it. It's Latin, says Reeves. It's the second half of a Latin phrase. Si vis pacem parabellum. It's basically, if you want peace, then prepare for war. So parabellum is prepare for war. Hell yeah.
I guess that makes sense because that one is him, like,
going
breaking
to war
all the rules
with
now.
The freaking syndicate,
the
or
table,
whatever the hell they call themselves.
The high table.
Yeah.
Interesting. I don't know. But we're here to talk about John Wick 4. We'll do non-spoilers for a little bit.
We saw it in theaters. Marshall paid for my ticket because I beat him by 1 on our Oscars ballots predictions. So.
And I'm a man of my word. I'm a man of honor.
That is true.
You redeemed a token of the table or whatever.
Good connection.
Took that blood token and I said, all right, here we go.
I'm buying you a movie ticket.
I'm buying you a movie movie ticket,
So it was a cute date.
and it was a cute date.
I got popcorn, and Marshall said he didn't want any.
I
Even
thought
though
that
I
you
got
knew
an
this
extra
about
large
me.
that you don't like pop. I think I do know that now that you're mentioning it. We've
Yeah.
talked about it on the pod.
It's not that I don't like popcorn. It's specifically movie popcorn. It's just like there's a kind of chip that they have in the United States, but it's not the same as the one in Mexico, where it's a Frito-Lay Lay's queso chip,
Okay.
which is just cheese in Spanish.
Yeah.
But in America, it's very, very cheesy. Much more so than like cheddar cheese, whatever, cheddar and onion, whatever.
Where are you going with this?
The Mexico one is extremely cheesy.
Okay.
And you have your first, well, you go to the OXXO, you get a queso chips Lay's thing, and you have your first one, you're like, that's too much. And then you say, I'll have another one though. And you do, and you think, that's too much. I'll have another one though. And you just keep going until you have eaten a whole bag. And then you feel sick.
Yes.
And you're like, why? I don't understand what I've done to myself. This is me with the movie popcorn.
Oh.
Is I have one of them and I'm like, this is too much.
Right.
And also, fun fact, I always say cheese when I'm talking about popcorn. I always mean butter.
Yeah.
There's not cheese.
No.
Some of them have cheese.
Yeah.
Like cheddar cheese.
Sure.
Sharp cheddar. Jalapeno. There's different kinds of popcorn. That crappy stuff they make the Boy Scouts sell.
Yeah.
Man, they got the short end of the stick on that deal. All right, Girl Scouts, you get to sell these amazing, delicious cookies. Everyone wants them. There's 100 varieties. And Boy Scouts, you need to fundraise. We've got. You want this popcorn?
That does suck, doesn't it?
It's really rough.
Oh, frick.
But
Then they get their popcorn merit badge.
did they get a merit badge for selling the most bad popcorn?
Yeah, it's really awesome. You get a double whammy. You sell a bunch of popcorn, you get a merit badge, and your Scoutmaster diddles you. It's awesome.
That's all good things to happen to a person.
Yeah, yep.
Do
Lots of
does anyone like that popcorn?
I don't think so.
Do you know what I'm talking about though? Like the
No.
stuff that
Yeah, it comes in a box and it's just kind of cold and old and
yeah,
stale.
and it's got like the like dip. It's like dipped in something.
What?
Yeah, it's like the.
You think they dip individual pieces of popcorn in
No.
this?
It's like red or green for Christmas, or there's blue.
Like caramel? Is that what you're talking
There's
about?
caramel corn. There's kettle
Is
corn.
that to what you're referring?
No. Hold on, let me find the
Jeez,
picture.
I don't know what you're talking about.
There's like, it's like dipped in something.
Regardless,
Hold on.
you don't let
Boy
yourself. So it's
Scout
not that you don't
popcorn.
like popcorn at the movie theater.
I also don't
It's
like it
just
very much. But
that
if I
you-
start eating it, I will not be able to stop.
Well, that's the point. Yeah, that's why you don't eat dinner beforehand. And then afterwards, you're like, I could just have a little snack now of something substantial.
Here, like the coated stuff in the middle there, the middle stuff there. It's also
Yeah.
it's all weird balls.
Caramel. You're talking about caramel corn, except for the
No.
ones that have cheese on
The
them.
middle one is
You're
like,
right. It is like more
like covered
ball,
in
ball
cheddar
form.
cheese.
Yeah, it's a different form of popcorn.
It's like coated popcorn.
I
don't
know what you're
understand
saying.
it.
It's not like it's powdered cheese. It's like somehow the entire popcorn kernel itself is coated in cheese.
I've looked up
I
coated
see.
popcorn.
I see what you're saying. They probably spray it on.
Like,
You're right. It's got to be
there.
sprayed.
This crap.
It's caramel corn, dude.
That's not caramel.
That is caramel corn.
It's not.
It literally is.
No, it's not. It says State Fair
Just
candied
because
corn.
Candied corn?
Yeah, should we
Caramel
look-
corn?
Let's look in the ingredients.
Oh my god. Okay, sure. So maybe it's just sugar instead of caramel. I guess? Is that what you're trying to say?
It's not caramel corn.
It's
Caramel
got-
corn tastes like caramel.
For the listeners out there who are trying to visualize what you're talking about, it's just caramel corn. But
you
you're
don't know what
But
I'm
you're just
talking
saying
about.
it like it's multicolored rainbow crap.
I'm gonna post this photo.
Can we talk about popcorn balls? Whatever happened to those? You remember popcorn balls?
No.
Like just a whole. I feel like kids used to give them out at like your elementary school parties. You get like a whole ball of popcorn that's like that kind, but it's like you've never had a popcorn ball?
Ben, I didn't have friends.
I'm so sorry about that. Did you go to private school?
No.
Popcorn ball. Everyone loves a popcorn ball.
I don't think I would.
People used to make them themselves.
I wouldn't.
Oh, sure. The first thing on the internet is how to make traditional popcorn ball. It's just a popcorn ball.
Oh.
It's got like sugary, marshmallowy. You like melt some like marshmallow fluff shiz and then like
I might have had
form
that.
your own ball. Sometimes it's colored, cool colors. There's some M&Ms in that one.
I would have it.
Everybody.
Does that have granola
Everybody
inside?
listening, go make a popcorn ball and give them out to your
one.
friends.
I want one.
Ball your friends.
Whoa, dude. Let's not
we
get
always
crazy.
say.
Here's what I have to say, though. John Wick 4 is a good movie.
Yeah.
I like it quite a bit.
Yeah,
I thought it was very good. In fact, I would go as far to say that I think this is the best of them.
What?
This is
What
the
makes
best
you
of the
say
4.
that? Really?
Yep.
Okay, that was gonna be my question coming into this was, do you think it has the same heart?
The cunning warrior attacks neither body nor mind.
Tell me how!
The heart, Osborne. First, we attack his heart.
As like the first one.
Yes, I think that it has heart as much as the first one, vastly more so than the middle two.
Yeah.
The middle two kind of lose the plot because the second one is like he's getting his car back or something.
Right.
And then the third one, I don't even remember what's happening.
It's
just
kind of
him,
a setup
like,
for this one.
Yeah, it's just, well, prepare for war.
Yeah.
That's when he fights Common, is in the third one, right?
Yeah. Yes.
I think so.
Yes.
Is it? No,
Second
Common's
one.
in the second one. The third one is Halle
The second
Berry.
one is because Common is like, wasn't he like another assassin that gets pissed, or he was like bodyguard or something?
Yeah, so at the end of... So, okay, John Wick 1, he was you find out slowly that there's something interesting about
These
this
are all
guy.
spoilers. They're all spoilers.
About the previous movies,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Not about the new one yet. But so the original John Wick movie is you're just following this guy going about his day, and then some dumb punk kid played by the guy who plays Theon Greyjoy, whose name I don't remember, Alfie Allen
Nice
is
work.
his name, I think.
Nice.
He is like, hey, I want to buy your car. And John Wick is like, that's not for sale. And the kid is like, oh, everything has a price. And he's like, well, this doesn't. And then they walk away and say something stupid in Russian. And John Wick says something in Russian back. And he's like,
Yeah.
you stupid.
Das
You're
Vidania,
a
bitches.
dumb kid. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And then they break into his house, kill his dog,
Yes.
which was a gift from his dead wife.
Yes.
The last thing that he received this gift from her after she had died. It was
Yes.
this thing that was supposed to be a surprise, and then you schedule flowers for a delivery in the future, and it shows up, and that kind of thing.
Right.
Except it's a dog.
Pause. Everything you just told me, Kate had never seen John Wick, and we started watching it,
Mm-hmm.
and she was all like, I don't like action movies that don't have any reason behind them. I was like, we should watch John Wick. There's lots of reasons. And so it starts off sad. Oh, wife is dead. Oh, so sad. Puppy shows up. She says, oh my gosh, Ben, that is the cutest puppy I've ever seen. I was like,
It
you're
is.
right. It is the cutest puppy. She's like, did I tell you that I've always wanted a beagle like that? I was like, that is
Oh,
really
no.
awesome that you've always wanted a beagle like that. She's like, oh, cute. Oh, this is so good. So sad. Wife is dead. Please don't die. All this stuff. Bad guys show up at the house.
Yeah.
Puppy starts barking. She says, oh my God, no. Oh my God, no. Ben, no. And freaking stomp on the puppy. Puppy dies.
Yeah.
Immediately, tears start to trickle down the face.
It's
It
it's
begins
upsetting.
Weeping. We have to pause it and stop, and we do not finish the rest. We stop there. There's like just sobbing happening, and right before I close out of it, all she says is, you're gonna talk about this on the podcast, aren't you? Like,
Yes.
correct. I am going to do that. Anyway, so there's a lot of motivation for the rest of the movie from then on out, which we didn't finish, but that's okay. Lots of motivation that is compelling. You don't really feel bad when the bad guys die.
No, and it's very fun to
Very
watch.
easy peasy. Good guys, bad guys. Don't feel bad. Like
Yeah.
John Wick, clearly the good guy. Keep it up.
Yeah.
Second and third movie, you lose out on a lot of the motivation, and you're like, "What? Like the fighting is cool. This is really fun." So my question earlier: does the fourth one have the same heart?
The heart, Osborne. First, we attack his heart.
As the first one?
I think so.
You think so? Okay.
Yeah, I think the middle two kind of lost that. Like, the violence was still, like, fun choreography, and it was still really well done, but it didn't feel as interesting or motivated to me, where this one, even though his goal was still just kind of to survive again, there was more behind it. And we can get into what that was later on, especially when other characters are introduced and we see their motivations and why they do things. Because I mean, if we talk about script score, cinematography, performances, directing, VFX. This was written by Shay Hatton and Michael Finch.
This is the same as the others, yeah.
I think it's the same writers. The guy who created it, this is the first, I think his name was Derek Holstad.
Okay.
It was the first one that he was not involved in.
Got it.
So it's, he has the characters created by credit, essentially, on this, but he did not write it. The score is by Tyler Bates and Joel J. Richard. Joel J. Richard, I think, primarily has just done these. All of these movies, both of these guys have done. Tyler Bates is very well known. He did the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. He did 300, Watchmen, Genndy Tartakovsky's Primal, which is really cool, and everyone should watch it if you like. So actually, I might put that in If This Then That. Hold on, let me put that over there. Primal. Get some really good, very little dialogue, amazing action kind of thing. Cinematography is by Dan Laustsen, Danish guy. He did a bunch of random Danish stuff and then became incredible after doing John Wick 2 and then started doing all kinds of stuff. He did John Wick 3, he did John Wick 4, he did Crimson Peak, Nightmare Alley, Shape of Water. So he's like Del Toro's new guy.
Yeah,
and those are all gorgeous movies. All of these movies have a very colorful, beautiful look to them. Performances, obviously Keanu Reeves, Ian McShane, Lance Reddick in what will not be his final role. It is confirmed that he filmed scenes for Ballerina, the Ana de Armas John Wick universe movie.
Okay.
I will be interested to see what that ends up being. But Lance Reddick, of course, passed away just about a week before the movie premiered. Really tragic. We talked about it a few episodes ago, but he's really, really good in the movie. Small role like all the previous ones, but he really stands out. He's really good in it. All the cast are wearing blue ribbons at the premiere in honor of him, which is very sweet.
Cool.
Sweet. Bill Skarsgård is the Marquis. He's the main villain of this one. Lawrence Fishburne back as the Fisher King. Clancy Brown is a Harbinger, which is kind of cool. I like that that's the name that kind of position has. He's the guy who shows up and gives the news.
Recognize that there is
a name so when he shows up to tell them they're being deconsecrated,
right?
Sharon tells what's his name, Winston, a Harbinger is here.
Gotcha.
It's like that's cool.
That's pretty sick. Yeah.
Donnie Yen is Kane, the blind assassin. Or Hitman, whatever.
It's pretty fun.
Hiroyuki Sanada is the I don't remember the character's name, but he's the manager of the Japan Continental. And Rina Sawayama is his daughter, famous pop star who I'd never heard of. Plays his daughter, his concierge.
Cool.
Directed by Chad Stahelski, like all these other ones. Was a famous stuntman for a long time, was Keanu's stuntman for a very long time, and VFX is done by tons of different groups.
Sweet.
Synopsis. John Wick uncovers a path to defeating the High Table, but before he can earn his freedom, Wick must face off against a new enemy with powerful alliances across the globe and forces that turn old friends into foes.
Ooh.
I just realized that I do not have the tracker guy with the dog. I don't have him on the list. I missed him. He was really good.
Shoot. Yeah. What is his name?
Hold on.
How
did I not get him? He must be in a weird place on the IMDb. Shamir Anderson.
Got it.
What else has he done? Because he was really good. Not much. He didn't look familiar. Yeah, he was really good. And also, Shamir Anderson as... What's his character's name? Tracker. That's what he's called. Ben, I think this one... I do think this is the best one.
Okay.
I do think it has that heart...
The heart, Osborn!
Again.
Okay.
And a lot of that has to do with... We're coming to the end of what seems like an end point of this story.
Yeah.
There may be more, there may not. There is, according to IMDb, a 5th one in development. There's one in
they also
pre-production.
had recently said oh yeah, we'll be coming back to.
They said we're going to take a break for a while, but we might come back. We'll see. Which led people to wonder what was going to happen.
How much longer can Keanu Reeves keep up
I don't know. He's
he's
58.
Stuff, dude. Yeah, he's getting old. Seriously.
But I think that it's very good. I think that it maintains that heart.
The heart!
And everything. Like I was saying, because it does feel like it's trying to move towards an end chapter.
Yeah.
Because where do you go
Yeah.
with this guy? We've had 2 movies that to me felt just okay. And this one was back again.
Yeah. I thought that... I think... My opinion is that it didn't quite have the exact same... I mean, the first one is so compelling.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, it's not to
it's
the
just,
same level necessarily.
But from like a story perspective, it has way better story. There was actually some plot compared to like the second and third, where again we were kind of talking about how the second is almost like adding a little more details from the first, and then the third one is setting up the fourth one.
Yeah.
I think it was maybe 10 minutes too long.
I would agree.
I think there like the last couple fight scenes, I was like, all right, you could have cut out a couple of these. Every single time they're so good. It's so insane how long each of the fight scenes is. The stunt choreography is amazing, but I think we could have gotten to the final conclusion 10-15 minutes faster. But what do you cut? I don't know.
I know what I would cut.
Whoa, okay. Can we go to spoilers now? We kind of talked.
Let's do just brief things on all the different categories, and let's go to spoilers.
Okay.
Because I know what I would cut. Let me write that down real quick. Boom, 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 boom. What would Marshall cut?
Perfect.
Script. I thought this one was really well written.
Mm-hmm.
For
Keanu not really saying anything. Yeah.
Yes, he literally, I looked it up, he said 350 words.
That's nuts.
The entire thing. Apparently, he went through himself and cut out like half of the dialogue for John Wick.
Wow.
Which I respect. Like, I think that he can be... Gosh, who's the character I'm thinking of? There's some other analog that I was thinking of like, if this guy starts saying too much, it feels wrong. And it doesn't make as much sense for him to be suddenly super literate and like going on long monologues.
Like Fistful of Dollars. I can't remember what the name of the character is.
Yeah, Blondie or whatever you want to call him, Clint Eastwood's character.
Sure, right.
The man with no name.
Sure.
I think that makes sense for him to not do as much. A lot of his lines are also extremely short, being like, yeah. There's a lot of like,
there is a lot.
What do you need, John? Guns. Lots of guns. He manages to bring that line back.
And it's just
all the time.
So awkward. It's so awkward, the whole movie.
But it's always so good. Yeah, it's always so good.
Ugh.
There were a couple lines, though, delivered by him that were very good. One in particular that I was like, you can cut everything out and you keep that, and that is the performance. Like, that is all you need. And that is when they're going through the catacombs and they're talking about, like, what would you want to have on your gravestone and what would your epitaph be?
Of course.
And they're trying to figure out, because there's a character that dies and they're talking about, it was difficult to figure out what to put on his gravestone, and in the end I had just said this, and it's just this one word. And I won't tell you what it is because spoilers. But they start talking about, like, well, what would I have? I don't know. And then John gets out of the boat and he turns around and what does he say? Is it beloved husband?
Beloved husband, yeah.
Yeah. And it really hits. It really works for me. Where he just, all he says is beloved husband.
Was it just loving husband?
Loving husband.
Loving
that's
husband.
What it was. Loving husband. And then Winston's like, what? He says, that's what I want on my gravestone. Loving husband.
And that's kind of like where
good.
we're at with, and that kind of begins the final act of the movie as well.
Yes.
Like where we're concluding back to the first movie. There's that we draw that connection there
very much
to his identity as a husband.
And he's saying, like, I'm going to do whatever I got to do at this point.
Yeah, right.
And if that means that I'm out of here, out of the world, and if I'm done, then I'm done.
Yeah.
And that's what I want, and I've decided, and I've made peace with that. And I think that's cool.
Sure.
Everyone is fantastic, though. Keanu is really good. Ian McShane is always entertaining.
Yep.
He's just so, like, sly and
He's perfect for the role. Yeah,
I love
absolutely.
Winston. Well, they're doing a young Winston show. Did you know this?
What?
Called The Continental.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
A show?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Wow. So they really are branching off.
They're spinning this whole universe out like
Wow.
crazy, man.
Are they putting Ian McShane in, but then making him look young, or?
Presumably it'd be someone else. I don't know.
Got it.
But yeah, who else? Lance Reddick is really good. Bill Skarsgård is a good villain.
I don't know about that one.
He's weird, but I think he's good.
The French accent
The French accent
was
is
rough for me.
It doesn't quite.
There's some time. There's like, especially at the beginning of the movie, there was a couple of lines where I was like, "What accent is that?" Oh, French, right? Okay.
I did. I'm not sure I would have been able to guess what accent he was trying to do.
Yeah.
Unless they had said it, which they did.
And that his name was the Marquis.
That he was the Marquis.
Yeah.
Yes.
And all of his scenes were in like luxurious French palaces.
Yeah, and he's
Right.
wearing these ridiculous outfits
Right,
with
right,
coattails and jodhpurs and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah, it's a little weird. But as in terms of like, yeah, I think there's his physical acting is fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Facial expressions, yeah. The
He's also
body
like,
language.
you hate him.
Yeah, right.
He's just despicable.
Yeah.
And not even in like a gangster way, but he's not slimy either. He's just like,
Yeah, that's a good point.
you just don't like him.
Yeah, that's
he's
a good
just
point.
like, this guy just sucks.
Yeah.
You just don't want to be around him.
That
Yeah.
is interesting. Yeah, it's not like they have to like do. He's just like cruel. He's just like kind of a.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
the cruelty is kind of what comes through. Yeah.
I think so.
Mm.
Yeah, when he like does the hand thing.
Yeah.
Like, what is the purpose of this?
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Kind of like a weird, and you can also kind of tell he does do a good job, like the power trip of it all. Like the power, you can tell is important to the character.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Anyway.
I'm in charge. I'm Bill Skarsgård. My dad is Stellan Skarsgård. My brothers are Alexander Skarsgård. Peter, I think, Skarsgård. There's like, he has like 7 siblings. Stellan Skarsgård
keep going.
has like 7 kids.
okay.
And almost all of them are actors.
Okay.
And it's confusing to me how this happened, but they're all pretty good.
It's a good voice. You got.
Thanks.
I wish I had a balloon.
Guns! Lots of guns! Who's your favorite person in this? Who do you think had the best performance?
I don't know about best performance, but I just really love Donnie. I think
Yes.
it's just so fun, and
Yes.
like anytime he was in a scene, I was just like, more please. But actually, no, not. It was just the perfect. It was the perfect amount. Like I think he wasn't a primary character.
It was.
It was just. It was great.
Because I don't think that he's the greatest actor.
Yeah.
So if he is overstaying
the
his
same
welcome,
and all,
then
yeah.
it doesn't quite work. Like if you need him to do really actory things, there were a couple scenes where he's like fighting the manager of the Tokyo Continental, and they have some dialogue, and his doesn't quite land. Like he's good, but he's not great.
Yeah.
But he's just so much fun.
Honestly, favorite actor might be the dog that exclusively bites people's balls off.
Yes.
What a performance.
Yes, and gosh, I think Shamir, he just yells out, "Nuts!"
Yeah, at least 6 times throughout the film.
It's very good.
Every time.
I want a dog friend that is highly trained like that.
Yeah, it can attack your enemy's nuts.
And that dog is very important to the plot.
I think every single piece, I think the whole cast I think adds up to a good whole. I think Keanu's performance is like maybe polarizing for some people. Like I think some people get that it's not comedy. The fact that he doesn't talk or says like is like it is funny.
Yeah.
It is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. That was better. I feel like some people will see the film and be like, I didn't like Keanu is such a bad actor, but it's kind of the point. I think he obviously knows what he's doing and knows the character, and I don't want to be that person that says something like, well, you have to understand, you have to get it. You don't get it.
That's okay
you know?
though.
Yeah.
Like if you're not being a jerk about it, if you're not being a real marquis about it, you know,
Yeah.
you got to come at it from a real John Wick, just a regular guy who's really good at killing and has some kind of German-Russian roots. Just come at it from that angle, and that's okay.
The Russian roots was an interesting part of this movie.
That was an interesting part of the movie. You know Klaus?
Yeah.
I am Klaus. That guy, apparently, you want me to read this to you so
Yes.
I get it right?
Yes, please.
Klaus is played by Sven Markart, a real-life bouncer in Berlin. All of those piercings and face tattoos aren't a result of hours in the makeup chair, as that is his real, distinct look.
Hell yeah.
And it's what has helped him become one of the most infamous bouncers in Europe.
That's
Though
freaking
Markart
awesome.
doesn't have any major acting credits, lack of experience wasn't an issue for his cameo. Markart is the bouncer of the Berghain, a monolithic building on the outskirts of Berlin that used to be a power plant. It was converted into a club in the 2000s and has since become one of the most famous and renowned techno clubs in the world.
Oh, cool.
It's an impressive building,
that where they
housing multiple
filmed?
floors, blah, blah, blah. I think it was probably a set. Sven is arguably as well known as the club itself, as he's a big part of the novelty of visiting the place. He's brutally strict and cannot deny entry into the club for dressing wrong, talking wrong, or even smiling wrong. There are countless articles online about how to impress him, gain entry, and there's even an online simulator to test getting into Berghain.
No way.
Everyone from Conan O'Brien to Elon Musk has been denied entry by Markart, and that's what makes the cameo so great, blah,
That's
blah, blah.
freaking sick.
It's very funny. In a very Berghain-influenced techno club.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Wait, so are we just on acting still? Is there anything else with that you want to say?
I think that the best performance in this movie was easily Scott Adkins.
Who dat?
Well, let me fill you in on Scott Adkins. Scott Adkins is a stunt performer, a stunt actor
Got it.
who has acted as villains and just stunts and many, many, many things. He's got a very long career. In this, he was the fat guy.
Oh!
It is unusual for him to have so much screen time as like a talking character,
Yeah, uh-huh.
especially as a comedic one, and he's so good. He's the slimy guy.
Yeah, right.
And man, is there anything as entertaining as watching a big fat guy who is not a big fat guy
right.
doing things that a big fat guy could not do.
Right, right.
Like, it is Scott
that scene
Adkins
was pretty awesome.
in a fat suit, a la Nutty Professor,
Yeah,
doing things like Scott Adkins would do.
got it.
And it is
Yeah.
so entertaining.
That scene, that whole fight scene was brutal and wild.
Yes, and that's also where like the cinematography got extra crazy.
Yeah.
The music was really, really good in that scene because you're really dipping into that like
That
techno
techno,
kind of feel.
Yeah.
I mean, literally every one of these script score, cinematography, all of that, except for visual effects in one part, really, really works for me and just is honestly like 10 out of 10 quality.
Also, the build-up from that card game they were playing, or whatever weird version of poker
whole
that
scene.
was that build-up to, all these guys are going to fight.
Yes.
When's it going to happen? What's going to be the thing that
They all
ignites
think that
the
they've
powder
got it
keg?
over on each other.
Yes, yeah.
Yes.
Which was perfect. It was beautiful, yeah.
That is one of the best scenes in the movie, probably.
Yeah.
And it's all down to Scott Adkins. Like, all of their individual performances, Damien, I keep wanting to say Damien because I keep thinking about Creed. Shamir and Keanu and Donnie Yen.
Creed, we never have talked about how we really really loved Creed 3 and talked about how much we love Jonathan Majors, and then he got in trouble afterwards.
So I don't
We
know.
never really talked about that.
But we don't know anything about that, though.
Yeah, besides that he got arrested for, like,
Possibly.
alleged domestic assault.
Yes.
And then right after that happened, everyone was like, "Oh yeah, he's been in Hollywood for a while."
Really?
Don't know. Yeah, it's like there was like multiple times where people apparently they went back and were like, all the times that there was that one tweet about like we hate working with this one unnamed actor because he's like actually really abusive. The whole time it was
What?
Jonathan Majors. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Right. Anyway,
Interesting.
I don't want to spread rumors.
I don't know. I hope it's not true because he seemed like a cool guy, but too bad. Whatever.
Anyway,
The important thing is, yes, the three of them are all really good in that scene, and they all play off each other really well. And Donnie Yen is just fantastic. But Scott Adkins is really the one controlling that scene and the pace of that scene, and I love it.
Yeah, and you said especially for not usually getting a lot of on-screen role, like acting.
He's not usually
giving
much of a face actor.
Face actor, that's what
Yeah.
I'm looking for. Yeah. Crazy. That's
I
fun.
like it.
Cinematography. Sorry, am I jumping too far ahead?
No,
Dude, freaking cinematography was awesome.
so good.
Every single city they were in had its own feel, its own lighting, its own, like, oh, this feels like the Tokyo scene, this feels like the Berlin scene, this feels like, it was each almost set. I was gonna say set piece. Every set has its own, just beautiful colors, lighting. God, if you were to compare John Wick 4 to John Wick 1, like.
They're very different.
Yeah.
Well, and this guy, Dan Laustsen, he came in on John Wick 2.
Got it.
And you can see those influences in the way that they start to move that direction.
Yeah.
And it's like, I've written in here, and I think I said at the movie, it's like they saw the nightclub scene in John Wick 1. Sorry, just John Wick. And thought, what if this was just all of the movies from now on?
Yeah.
And they start to move that direction in 2. They get further into that in 3, where it gets even more stylized. And then this one is just all out.
It has no reason to be as beautiful as it is.
And there are times when I was like, is this too much? But I don't think that it ever was.
Yeah.
I think that it really fit the world that it had built into.
Yeah.
If it had gone from John Wick 1 to John Wick 2 and gone that crazy, it would have felt a little outlandish to me.
Yeah,
But I think it fit because it had been such a natural progression over these few movies.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. I also like how it's, if you were to compare, obviously, like, how influential John Wick is to all action films
Holy
since the first one's come out, right? Both from the action perspective, also the filming perspective, the choreography, the way that action sequences are filmed, all that kind of stuff. It's just great that it's a beautiful, warm film. I mean, there's dark scenes, but like it's not freaking Bourne Ultimatum. It's not, it's not that green dark kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? Like,
it's that
the color
weird,
grading of it
because Bourne created that.
Yeah.
Like, if I have to choose an era of action movies to live in, I would much rather it be post John Wick than post Bourne Identity.
Yeah, right.
Because Bourne Identity, not only did it create that cinematography look that is that very washed out blues and greens kind of thing,
the shaky
but the
scenes.
shaky like quick cuts and everything, which then it seems like it almost becomes a parody of itself by Bourne Ultimatum,
right?
Because it's just like 1,000 cuts per second. It's crazy.
The worst one had to have been the last one in the installment. What's
that's
that
Ultimatum.
one called? And after that, the one that doesn't even have Matt Damon in it anymore.
Oh, just Bourne Legacy?
Yes.
Yeah, with Renner.
Yeah.
I don't even remember that very well.
Okay, I saw it in theaters and
It's like
nauseating.
Yeah. There's also, I mean, really good stuff has its imitators, and some people do it really well and some people don't. You can take the idea of the John Wick stuff and just think, oh, so it's just more wide out, longer shots so you can see everything that's happening. That's all it is. No, like you still have to have really cool choreography. You have to move the camera in cool ways. You have to move the camera with what's happening.
Yeah.
You have to have the choreography match up with the music and all that stuff. It has to all go together. And I've seen a lot of movies try to do this similar thing and really not hit. There was one that I was thinking of specifically. What was it? That's just like long action sequences, but it just doesn't really work. There's the movie The Old Guard on Netflix that I think is like pretty good at doing this, but doesn't quite get there. Extraction, also not directed by Chad Stahelski, directed by a different guy, but also like a stunt performer. Another Netflix movie as well. Also does it pretty well. I'm thinking of good examples now. I can't think of the bad example that I was trying to think of. But I don't know. I think that you can go too far the other direction as well and create very boring stuff that's just like a camera sitting here.
Right.
And we see a lot of action happen. And now let's go to the next thing.
Yeah.
And it's boring.
So let's just revel in the majesty of what this movie was. That was good. Yes.
Reveling.
We don't have to think about the bad ones or the other medium ones. Just it's really good. Go see it. I'm so glad we saw it in theaters, dude.
I am too.
I feel like everything felt
You could feel
so real. Yeah,
the
it's
sound
just like
design.
ooh, every time someone got hit by a car, which happened like 4 times, 5
Yes.
times, 6, a lot of
A
times.
lot.
Every single
In
time I
one
was like,
sequence in particular.
oh, youch, like that.
Yeah,
I feel
well, you
that
can
in my
feel the bullet
chest.
hits.
Yeah, right.
Like
yeah,
those gunshots are like they permeate you in
Yeah.
theater,
Ugh, it's so
which is not
good.
something you want gunshots to do. It's
Every
bad.
time that dog ripped off those
Nuts!
nuts, you just felt it.
Yeah.
You felt it.
I get PTSD when people yell nuts around me now.
They're just asking if you want some.
Happens
some
all
nut.
the time.
It's actually really weird how often that happens to you.
If I had a nickel for every time someone yelled nuts around me,
Yep, you would.
I would have
A couple of nickels.
a couple of nickels. I'm a big
You should really buy longer shorts. That is the issue. Either short shorts.
Knickerbockers?
Yeah, there's a lot of people.
Nickelbockers?
You gotta put your nuts away, Marshall. That's all
Listen,
I'm saying.
man. I'll do what I want with my nuts, and you can't stop me.
Put them away.
Hands off, dude.
Okay.
Should we do spoilers?
Oh gosh, have we not been spoiling?
No, not really.
All right, go. Yeah, spoilers, sure.
Here's spoilers. So James Bond dies in the end.
Yep. Yeah. That joke doesn't get old.
It doesn't, and it's more applicable
He
here.
does
So
die in the end.
John Wick does die at the end.
Nice. Right into the spoiler.
Probably.
Yeah, it is pretty vague. He's like sitting there watching a sunrise, and then like we cut to funeral at his tomb, at his
Yeah.
gravestone, saying loving husband.
Loving husband. Is he dead? Do you think? Let's just do this. Do you think that he is dead?
I don't know. I don't freaking know. I feel like it felt so out of nowhere. I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say he's not dead. He's just trying to live isolated in the mountains somewhere. New life. I think that's how they're gonna connect this and make another film out of it. Is that he's like really not dead, but it just cut so fast. It was so clearly vague. I feel like if they really wanted to put to wrap it up, they could have done that way differently.
Which I think is intentional.
Yeah.
I think that they very much left it like, if we end here, if we don't do another one, it would be fine.
Yeah.
But also, it's vague enough that we could come back and explain it away.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't be that weird.
Which I think, as a moviegoer, leaving the theater is almost like when the movie ends and credits start to roll. You don't really feel super sad, which I think is like actually kind of nice. Like, I'm not cripplingly sad, like, oh, John Wick's dead. Like, there's enough hope almost in these scenes where you're like, I'm okay with that. If he's dead, great. If he's not, awesome. Like, I don't feel like overwhelmingly devastated by his death.
I don't know if I think that he's dead.
Uh-huh.
I think that it's more likely that he isn't. I hope that he is. I really hope that he is. Because if he is dead, then this is a very satisfying ending for him. He gave to Kane what he could never have.
Yeah, freedom
from the table and from like that pain. Kane still had someone to hold on to.
And the freaking they've got the hotel back, whatever the frick it's called.
The Continental.
It's getting rebuilt.
The New York Continental, and that's great. But like Kane and his daughter is the reason for the ending of the movie.
Yes.
John doesn't have anybody. He doesn't have the dog. I mean, Lawrence Fisher probably has his pit bull at that point. I don't know what happened to his pit bull. But he doesn't have the puppy. He doesn't have his wife. There's nothing really out there for him. He's just still going. And people are constantly asking him throughout the movie, like, have you thought about how this ends? Have you thought about where this is going? Which is something that I was wondering. Like, have they thought about how they're going to finish this? Because it just keeps going, and it's going to lose steam at some point here. And that's the other reason that I really hope he's dead, is because this feels like a good conclusion for his character. That he tricks the Marquis into giving Kane his freedom and his daughter back, and also into being able to kill him, the Marquis. And that is peace to him. If he were to keep going, something would happen to pull him back in. Inevitably, because story would demand it. Something would happen. You can't just make another John Wick movie with John Wick still alive and say, yep, he's off living peacefully in the mountains. It's like with the Bourne Legacy, you can't just make a Jason Bourne movie, call it the Bourne Legacy, have it star a different guy, and have it be sort of about Jason Bourne and how he's not really in the game anymore. And then, like, it just feels weird.
like,
And
why
then
did they do that,
inevitably,
right?
they did do another one.
Right.
Jason Bourne, Matt Damon's back.
Yeah.
And I really, really hope that they just leave it here. They can do their spin-offs. I mean, there's already movies that take place in this universe. I think Atomic Blonde takes place in this universe, if I
Really?
remember right. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know
I
that.
think it's directed by Chad Stahelski.
Oh.
There's also Ballerina with Ana de Armas, which is going to be coming out at some point here. I was wondering how Sharon was going to be in it since his character is killed in this movie very early on. And I guess it would be a prequel. Also, Keanu Reeves is in that movie.
Oh.
Now that I think about it.
So it must be.
It has to
going
be some
on.
kind of prequel or
Yeah.
something.
Uh-huh.
There's also the Young Them series in development, the Young Sharon and Winston series about the Continental.
Gotcha.
There's a few things in development. Like, this is still a franchise that's going to keep going. I hope that it keeps going.
Got it.
I just hope that they let John be dead.
Right.
I don't know. I think that would be what would be best at this point. Because I don't know what you would do for
Do you think that's like the purpose of Cool Tracker Dog Guy, whatever his name is? Like,
I could see them doing a movie with him. I liked him.
yeah.
I don't really know what there is to him. There's no backstory to him, but that's easily fixable.
Seems like he's like, well, yeah. I feel like you got enough to make it sense that he was there. Like, bounty
Yeah.
hunter wanted to make some extra cash, like, or an
And he's
extra
freaking
cash,
cool.
Like, yeah, like his whole notebook thing, kind of cool.
Yeah,
like his
he's
whole.
got a dog. He's got a notebook. He's
gun
got
for
like
hire,
a
like-
freaking like elephant gun or something. It's like a breech loading
Yeah.
something.
Super sick.
So cool. Like,
It's like a
he
shotgun,
was awesome.
right? Anyway.
I couldn't quite tell. It was breech loading like a shotgun.
Yeah, but
It didn't. It was accurate at long range. It seemed
yeah,
like.
so it wasn't like it wasn't a like pellet type shell. It was like they do that with the
like a dense bullet.
where it's like
Like a
a
really
shotgun shell,
fat
but it's like
bullet.
a not buckshot, but like something like that, where it's like
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing.
Yeah. I think that's a thing.
Frick, I
Do
would
you
I
want
trust
to
them.
know what I would cut out?
Oh yeah. Let's cycle back to that. So it felt a little long. There was at least one or two scenes where I was like, "Come on, wrap this up." What would your cut have been? I'll make my cut afterwards.
I want to know. I'm gonna write down favorite sequence.
Okay, sequence. That's a good word. I keep saying fight scene, and
Favorite
I know that
kill.
that's like just like not the right word. Sequence,
we've got-
action sequence is a better word.
What would you cut?
Mm-hmm.
Favorite sequence and favorite kill, if you can think of a specific one.
What would I cut? I would cut the endless stream of bad guys fighting John Wick in Tokyo. When they're in the room with like all the glass cases, you know what I'm talking about?
I
Right
would
before
not.
Donnie shows up,
Yeah.
I would have cut like 3 of those guys. Maybe. It was like the same thing
Yeah.
multiple times.
You could shorten it a little. It definitely felt like there's more of them.
Are you saying like cut like an entire scene?
A whole
An
sequence.
entire sequence?
I can think of a whole sequence that I would just take out of the movie. Do you want me to tell you mine?
The Russian scene like added a lot of time that they could have simplified of him having to go and freaking get one of the clans to endorse him or whatever.
I think that that's important, though.
It was
If-
actual plot, so that's cool.
Yeah, it would feel cheap to me.
Yeah.
If there was this whole thing where he was like, his name is scraped from the record and all this super official hardcore stuff, and the table is super official and super like all of this really ornate rules and everything.
Yeah.
If he was able to just be like, okay, you're back in the family,
Right, yeah.
that would feel cheap.
No, that makes
to me.
sense.
I feel
Well-
like he has to fight a big fat guy for 20 minutes
Sure.
to be able to earn his way
Yeah,
back into
that's
the
a good
table.
point. That's a good point. I guess it does set up that whole thing. Okay, so but anyway, mine is that there was like 5 too many bad guys fighting him right before Donnie shows up.
I can appreciate that.
Anyway, go ahead.
I can agree that sequence probably was a little long in that exact part in the mirror room. It's like there's more guys coming out.
Yeah.
But if I were to take out an entire sequence, I would take out the Arc de Triomphe. Where
Oh,
it's
the driving with the cars?
They're
Going around the roundabout?
Yes.
Really? Okay.
It just kept going, and it didn't feel unique enough to me throughout it. It felt like a lot of there's a lot of cars going everywhere. Oh, there's
Yeah.
a guy, shoot him. There's a lot of cars going. Oh, that guy get hit by a car, and just that like 100 times over.
Yeah.
And it also, if I was to choose 2 spots in this movie that visual effects didn't hold up, I think the entire movie was super gorgeous, and all the visual effects looked fantastic, except for 2 parts, and that is that sequence. They obviously
much
were
going
not
on,
100
yeah.
actual cars going
Right,
there.
right.
And if there were, they would not continue going while there was a bunch of guys fighting and shooting each other in the streets.
Yeah.
So that felt a little silly to me.
Yeah.
And also it didn't look real.
Yeah.
The other thing that was really unfortunate to me is that final duel was very clearly like CG, and I wish that they would have been on some kind of volume set or something, because it just didn't the lighting didn't look real for that sunset, and for such a
Yeah.
climactic thing,
Yeah.
it was really unfortunate when they got there, and I was like, oh well, that kind of sucks.
Interesting. Okay. So the reason you would cut it isn't because it dragged. It was just like you would change how they did it.
Oh, I would just completely. I think from the moment that he says "loving husband" and is like, "I'll see you at the church," it's just that long sequence of him trying to make his way there.
All the way through Paris. Yeah.
Yes, the beginning part of that where he's like doing a little bit of a car chase and getting hit by cars and stuff. That's all really good.
Yeah.
The middle part of it is the Arc de Triomphe, and then the final part is Sisyphus going up the stairs.
Yeah.
The beginning and especially the end are fantastic.
Yeah.
That ending part, what did I write down? Oh man, what was my favorite sequence? Am I gonna forget now? Crap.
There was the stairs, and right before the stairs, he was running around with the shotgun, the the
Oh.
Dragon's Breath shotgun. You know what I'm saying?
So
With the camera angle where it was top down in the room.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
That's my favorite sequence.
Yeah, I was gonna throw that out. It was
Hotline Miami.
pretty
dude.
awesome. Yeah, when they're like he's working his way through all the rooms, and you're seeing people run through like in the background, like setting up in the room behind, so you
Yes.
can kind of see what he's about to go like take on because
Dude.
you're seeing 2 rooms in advance.
So good.
Really cool.
Have
yeah.
you heard of or played Hotline Miami?
I've heard of. I haven't played.
So Hotline Miami is that.
Oh, really?
It is top-down shooter.
Okay.
Isometric is not the right word. I'm going to show you this and I'll cut this part.
Yeah.
So Ben, that's Hotline Miami.
Yeah, okay.
All of the reactions that I saw after the movie were like, "Oh, the Hotline Miami scene was so good," because like they must have known what they were doing.
Yeah.
Because it was so clearly inspired by that, especially
Yeah.
with the Dragon's Breath rounds.
Yeah.
It really gives you that video gamey kind of visual
Yeah.
look to it.
Huh.
And the music. So
You know
good.
what I love about those scenes,
What do you love, Ben?
and that I'm glad that they do this, when John Wick makes a mistake and then like fights his way out of the mistake.
Yes.
Because it feels like a real mistake. Whether it's you just show me a perfect round of Hotline Miami, and it's so perfect. You know, like he's right there. He's right there. I've memorized every
Yeah.
single one of these. Like when John Wick messes up and you hear him go,
Yeah.
like he says that a lot in the movie.
It's
like,
a lot of his one-word lines.
Yeah.
A lot of his 350 words.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, I love that when he makes a little mistake, it feels so real. It feels so like yeah.
It does, and it makes the stakes higher. The fact that he does seem a little bit like he's on the back foot. The first ones, he's very much like you see in the game. Like he's the cold-hearted, bang, 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 got him. Especially like you look at the nightclub scene, famously.
Yeah, yeah.
He's just going pow, 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 tactical. And as these movies have gone on, he does become older and more weary. And I think that that's probably a specific choice. And I think it works really well to add stakes to it. And they do that so well on the stair sequence.
Oh my gosh, it's so perfect.
It's
so great. Working his way up and then kicked all the way back down. And as soon as he starts rolling, hot rod style,
Yes.
you just know that he's going all the way down, isn't he? Oh my gosh, he's
Well, I'm
going,
watching
yeah.
like, is he?
Yeah.
Is he going to go all the way? Because it's been like 15 minutes
Yeah.
of him going up these stairs,
Yeah.
legitimately.
Yeah, that was something I was. They started counting down how many minutes they had left, and I started looking at my watch to see. Are they going to actually do
I always
2
do
minutes
that
of
when
this
it-
or
yeah.
3 minutes of this? They were pretty close. It was a little extra.
Really?
But yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, but it also doesn't feel when he gets knocked all the way back down to the bottom of the stairs. You're like, all right, sweet. I don't feel like you cheated me out of anything as the viewer. Like it
No.
feels like, oh, lol. Okay, nice.
Because then you get him and Kane fighting together,
Right.
which is awesome. And I love you get the little hint at their shared background when he's like 6 or 9, and Donnie has like 9, and they're clearly like, which of our pre-prepared plans that we've come up with in the past are we about to do?
I thought he was saying, was he saying that, or was he saying like, give me like a 6 o'clock or 9 o'clock, like since I'm blind? Was it like a plan of 6 or 9?
That was what I understood.
Uh-huh.
Because I feel like if it was a time direction thing, he would have asked that more specifically.
Right.
I like the idea that they have these plans because that also adds a lot more depth to their relationship.
Yeah. I guess like regardless though, like one is showing that they're used to working together. The other one, well, both of them show that we've done this before. That is so good. So your favorite sequence though was the overhead.
Yeah, I want to watch that 100
and,
times.
Yeah,
it's so cool.
Yeah.
I love that. And I can't wait to see 100 movies try and fail to do it.
Yeah.
It's going to be great.
Yeah. Wow.
Well, Ben.
Okay.
Do you have any special things you want to say?
I love you. But that's it.
That makes one of us.
Ooh, you don't love yourself? Marshall, we got to work on that, seriously, honestly.
I'm trying.
Thank you. That's good.
If this, then that, Ben. Also, yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. In theaters.
Actually,
in
Ben,
theaters if you can still.
There's only one way to review this movie.
What? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
John Wick
You're so much
4.
better at the Keanu John Wick impersonation.
Because there's a little bit of a... Yeah.
Yeah.
You good, John? Yeah. Lawrence Fishburne. Every time it's someone talking to John Wick, I can't help but do a Lawrence Fishburne.
As the person.
Come on, John! It's like the same thing when I talk about The Mandalorian.
And
it's always just... Mando. It has to be Carl Weathers.
Yeah, gotcha.
So we both said,
speaking of him, I just watched Happy Gilmore last night because The Mattress is on and it was on
I forgot
TV.
he's in that.
And he's in that. He's freaking what's his name? Chubbs or something.
With the arm or something?
Yeah.
That's great.
It's a good one. Anyway,
If this, then that. Other John Wick movies.
Other John Wick movies.
The recent Bob Odenkirk movie, Nobody.
Oh yeah,
I haven't seen it.
Oh what? Really?
Heard it's good.
It is good.
Looks fun.
It's similar. It's honestly maybe more brutal than some John Wick stuff. It's a little brutal sometimes.
Really?
Like sometimes you're like, oh yeah. Yeah, it's harkening back to John Wick 1 a little bit.
Mr.
in some
Show.
ways. Yeah. What? What's Mr. What?
That was the comedy show that David Cross and Bob Odenkirk did on HBO.
Oh really? I've never seen it.
That's what made them famous.
But yeah, it's a good one. Yeah, you should see it. It
on
harkens back to
HBO.
the first one where it's like it's revealed to you that this person is the thing, the hitman. Who is great in that movie? It's not Dick Van Dyke. Who is it? Wait, there's some his dad in the movie is it Dick Van Dyke?
No, I wouldn't know if it was Dick Van Dyke.
I gotta look up. Who is it? That's just fantastic. You keep talking about if
I'm trying to think of old actors. Another thing I put on there is Gendy Tartakovsky's Primal. It's an animated series about a caveman, and Gendy Tartakovsky is amazing. He did Samurai Jack. He did Star Wars Clone Wars, not Star Wars The Clone Wars. Star Wars Clone Wars. It's an animated series that you can find fully on YouTube now, I think. It's also on Disney+. That was the first time we ever saw the Clone Wars, and it's not canon anymore, but there's some really cool stuff in there, and some stuff that is coming into canon now. It's the first time you ever saw Asajj Ventress or General Grievous. This guy has an amazing style. He's a fantastic writer. Primal is about a caveman who meets a T-Rex, basically, and they kind of hate each other and become partners and friends, and their names are Talon and Fang. You don't know those names, but like that's the characters' names essentially, and it's really good. And
I figured it out.
I like it a lot.
It's not Dick Van Dyke, but similar in my brain. It is Christopher Lloyd.
Oh,
he's awesome.
Interesting.
It's a very good role. It's very fun. You should really watch it. You'd enjoy it probably.
I'll check it out.
The other thing coming up that both of us got excited for in the theater in the trailers at the beginning was an A24 film that was, what was the name of it?
What was that?
It was The Gold Miner and the Nazis.
Yes.
Which seemed just like similar to the first John Wick, where it's very clearly the good guys, the bad guys. I can root against the bad guys so easy. It's just stupid, evil Nazis showing up, trying to ruin this gold miner. This gold miner strikes gold, and it turns into this guy. versus the Nazis. Freaking, like, there's a smoke screen in one of the scenes, and he grabs an anti-tank mine and throws it, and it hits a Nazi in the head situation. Like, looks absurd and
looks
ridiculous,
amazing.
but
It's
I want
like
to see it.
World War II John Wick.
Yes.
The same way that, you know, like any big open world video game with guns just gets called Skyrim with guns. Anything that's like John Wick is just John Wick, but this. That's going to be John Wick, but World War II, which I'm very excited for.
It's called Sisu? Sisu? S-I-S-U.
Yes, which translates to something. I can't remember.
When an ex-soldier who discovers gold in Lapland wilderness tries to take the loot to the city, Nazi soldiers led by a brutal SS officer battle him.
That's wonderful.
Gosh.
The other thing, there's also Extraction on Netflix. It's pretty good. Chris Hemsworth. There is a second one in development. We'll see if that is happening or not, because he was taking a break from acting. And then The Old Guard is another one based on a comic book, also on Netflix. Pretty good, not amazing. But yeah, there's not a lot like John Wick, and nobody does it quite as well. So Ben, we've both said, yeah. If you want to check out the show, check it out on social media at Cinema Lounge Pod on Instagram. We have the Discord, Facebook. All the things are linked in the description. Send the show to all your friends, to your enemies, to your dad, to your mom, to your stepdad, to the mailman, to the milkman. These people don't have to not be your parents, but they could be separate from or also your parents. I hope that's not a surprise to you. That would be a very unfortunate thing for you, and I'm praying for you.
Yeah. Ancestry.com will show you things you weren't wanting to be.
You're going to go on that show, Who Do You Think You Are? And they're going to tell you that your ancestors were slave owners or something, and you're going to be like, crap.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Ben.
On that note,
we'll do we don't toast because
we
it's
don't
CLP.
Toast. It's CLP. What are we CLP in next time? That's a great question.
Maybe Mario, maybe Dungeons and Dragons.
Dungeons and Dragons I would be down for. Mario seems polarizing. It's freaking setting records. It's like
the
eclipsing
highest grossing animated movie of all time.
It's all over the place.
Here's the thing.
But I hear it sucks, so
Mario,
I don't know what to think.
I don't think it sucks. I think it's for kids.
Yeah.
You know, I think that Shigeru Miyamoto knows exactly what he wants to do.
Yeah.
He wants to make a fun, silly movie, and he doesn't care about story necessarily. Like, none of the Mario games are heavy on story.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
It's heavy on Mario. It's heavy on Mario.
Whoa, man.
Yeah.
Mario's getting hot and heavy.
Yeah.
I think that the movie could be really fun. It's obviously directed more towards kids.
Yeah.
If we're gonna wait to see one, I say wait to see Mario, and let's talk about Dungeons and Dragons.
Okay.
So do you want to say next CLP D&D?
That's a hot take, but yeah, sure.
Is it a hot take?
Hot take. It's a quick decision is what I meant to say. It's a quick decision, but I'm in. Yes, D&D.
Do you have another choice, Ben?
No, let's do it. We're gonna go see Superman this weekend, so we could do a CLP on that.
We have already talked about Superman
but it was so
1
long
and
ago,
2.
and we're different people now. We honestly might have a whole different conversation.
We could talk about our experience at the Alamo Drafthouse briefly, but I don't think we're going to have...
How about that? We'll talk about how great Alamo Drafthouses are.
Yeah.
Apparently, seeing Mario at the Alamo Drafthouse is super fun because they hand out little mustaches and a bunch of other like hats and stuff, and it's just like a whole party. And
Let's go!
At the Alamo parties, you're allowed to like cheer and stuff like that, so it's a bunch of kids just having a great time. Apparently. Yeah, apparently you're just doing that the whole time.
Woo!
So
I have said many
we'll go see it
times,
there.
and we'll end the episode.
Okay.
But I have said many times, and I need someone out there to help me do this. I want to somehow mod Mario 64, not on PC. I know that you could do that. I want to mod the actual cartridge somehow.
Okay.
And I want to make it so instead of all the wahoo, wahee, and like the
Yeah.
I want to make it so when Mario gets hurt or falls, because the falling down sound is right? I want it to just be like like blood curdling screaming.
Yeah.
I think that'd be hilarious.
Yeah.
And I want the same thing for Yoshi when you knock him off to a cliff or whatever. I think that'd be great. And we should do that.
Okay.
Ben,
Yep.
next episode,
Good night.
we don't know what it's going to be.
D&D.
No.
Yes. You said it earlier.
CLP is every other episode.
Yeah.
Next episode is a full-size lounge.
Let's see what's coming out in the next couple weeks, and we'll put it on social media, and people will know what to
my
expect.
gosh.
We'll put it on social media.
The next episode is full-size lounge. It's not CLP.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, Danny.
Come on.
You and Danny are watching something.
Maybe me and Danny. We have had
me,
a lot of
or me and
sporadic
me,
things.
me and you, me and me, me and you.
The two of us together. Thanks everyone for listening. I've been Marshall.
Bye, Ben.